Hello, everybody. My name is Graham Elwood, and you are watching The Political Vigilante. So I'm assuming one of the reasons you come to this show is you want to get to the truth because we talk about things in the way the corporate media doesn't. So please like the show right now. Hit the like button. If you're new to the show, subscribe. That really helps. And one of the things I've talked about a lot on the show, and since today's Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday, I think he would have been 92 today, is when the corporate media does give us information, there's usually some slant to it, or they only give us part of it. And Dr. King is one of those people and stories. Every MLK Day, they show us the I Have a Dream speech, and they talked about his activism as a civil rights leader, which is great. I Have a Dream speech is a beautiful speech, but they always leave out all of his speeches talking about wealth inequity and anti-war, and we spend money on war because it was the height of the Vietnam conflict, right? And he talks a lot of socialism, and it's never talked about. Even last year for the Super Bowl, they made some ad where they took his speech and cut it up for a car commercial. And the actual speech is like, you know, something's wrong in America where we want to have a better car than everybody else, and where the capitalism makes us get in this competitive, I'm paraphrasing, obviously, and not doing that eloquent man's speech justice. But that's another example. They made this Super Bowl ad for like the new Dodge pickup or whatever, and they took a speech of his. Which I'm like, all right, good. At least they paid the King family some money, but like they cut it up and then they put his real speech. And then somebody online took the real speech. But I found this. Another channel put this together. I didn't have to edit this together. Of just a compilation of a lot of his speeches talking about wealth inequities. And then at the end of it, it's a really great interview with James Baldwin. So I want to play this for you today on Dr. King's, what would have been his 92nd birthday, and also what was organized today, January 18th, 2021. As a massive strike of McDonald's workers, and they deliberately did it on King's birthday, and it's also 2 days before Biden's inauguration. So let's talk about that.
We must also realize that the problems of racial injustice and economic injustice cannot be solved without a radical redistribution of political and economic power. We read one day, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. But if a man doesn't have a job or an income, he has neither life nor liberty and the possibility for the pursuit of happiness. He merely exists. Estimated that we spend $322,000 for each enemy we kill in Vietnam, while we spend in the so-called war on poverty in America only about $53 for each person classified as poor.
Does that sound familiar? What's an even sadder reality is these numbers are there's even a more stark difference. He's just talking about the one war in Vietnam. We have $740 billion military budget that the Democrats in Congress, they voted for every Trump war budget since the Democrats took over Congress 2 years ago. And the war on poverty gets $53. Weird that this speech isn't being played on the daily. Weird. Because it's too relevant today. It's even more relevant. What he's talking about, and this is in the mid to late 60s, is more relevant today than it was then. Because the wealth inequities are worse. Our war machine is way out of control.
The promises of the Great Society have been shot down on the battlefield of Vietnam, making the poor, white and Negro, bear the heaviest burdens both at the front and at home. The other thing I want you to understand is this, that it didn't cost the nation 1 penny to integrate lunch counters. It didn't cost the nation 1 penny to guarantee the right to vote. But now we are dealing with issues that cannot be solved without the nation spending billions of dollars and undergoing a radical redistribution of economic power. Yes, yes. All labor has dignity. Yes. But you're doing another thing. You are reminding not only Memphis, but you are reminding the nation that it is a crime for people to live in this rich nation and receive starvation wages. America's opportunity to help bridge the gulf between the haves and the have-nots. And the question is whether America will do it. There's nothing new about poverty. What is new is that we now have the techniques and the resources to get rid of poverty. And the real question is whether we have the will. At the very same time that America refused to give the Negro any land, through an act of Congress, our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. But not only did they give the land, they built land-grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm. Not only that, they provided county agents to further their expertise in farming. Not only that, they provided low interest rates in order that they could mechanize their farms. Not only that, today, many of these people are receiving millions of dollars in federal subsidies not to farm, and they are the very people telling the black man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps. And this is what we are faced with, and this is the reality. Now, when we come to Washington, in this campaign, we are coming to get our check. And I come here tonight and plead with you. Believe in yourself and believe that you're somebody. As I said to a group last night, nobody else can do this for us. No document can do this for us. No Lincolnian Emancipation Proclamation can do this for us. No Kennysonian or Johnsonian Civil Rights Bill can do this for us. If the Negro is to be free, he must move down into the inner resources of his own soul and sign with a pen and ink of self-assertive manhood his own Emancipation Proclamation. Don't let anybody take your manhood. Be proud of our heritage. As somebody said earlier tonight, we don't have anything to be ashamed of. Somebody told a lie one day. They couched it in language. They made everything black, ugly, and evil. Look in your dictionary and see the synonyms of the word black. It's always something degrading and low and sinister. Look at the word white. It's always something pure, high, and clean. But I want to get the language right tonight. I want to get the language so right that everybody here will cry out, yes, I'm black, I'm proud of it, I'm black and beautiful.
What is the relationship between this and the reality of the Negro masses?
So this is now James Baldwin. There's a great documentary that came out about a year ago called I'm Not Your Negro. And again, what Baldwin is about to say here is more relevant today, unfortunately, than when he gave the speech. This is on some TV show. If you haven't watched I'm Not Your Negro, watch it. It's a great documentary.
Well, to leave Martin out of it for a moment. Martin's very rare, very great man. Martin's rare for two reasons. Partly because just because he is. And because he's a real Christian. And he really believes in nonviolence. He's arrived at something in himself. Which permits him, allows him to do it. And he still has great moral authority in the South. He has none whatever in the North. Poor Martin has gone through God knows what kind of hell to awaken the American conscience. But Martin has reached the end of his rope. There's some things Martin can't do. Martin's only one man. Martin can't solve the nation's central problem by himself. There are lots of people, lots of black people I mean now, who don't go to church no more and don't listen to Martin, you know. And who anyway are themselves produced by civilization, which has always glorified violence, unless the Negro had the gun. So that Martin is undercut by the performance of the country. The country is only concerned about nonviolence if it seems that I'm going to get violent. But I'm worried about nonviolence if it's some Alabama sheriff.
Jim, what do you see deep in the recesses of your own mind as the future of our nation? And I ask that question in that way because I think that the future of the Negro and the future of the nation are linked.
They're indissoluble.
Yeah. Now, what do you see? Are you essentially optimistic or pessimistic? And I really don't want to put words in your mouth because what I really want to find out is what you really believe.
Well, I'm both glad and sorry you asked me that question. I'll do my best to answer it. I can't be a pessimist because I'm alive. To be a pessimist means that you have agreed that human life is an academic matter. So I'm forced to be an optimist. I'm forced to believe that we can survive whatever we must survive. But the Negro in this country, the future of the Negro in this country is precisely as bright or as dark as the future of the country. It is entirely up to the American people and our representatives. It is entirely up to the American people whether or not they're going to face and deal with and embrace this stranger whom they've maligned so long. What white people have to do is try to find out in their own hearts why it was necessary to have a nigger in the first place. Because I'm not a nigger. I'm a man. But if you think I'm a nigger, it means you need it. The question you got to ask yourself, the white population of this country has got to ask itself, North and South, because it's one country, and for a Negro, there's no difference in the North and the South. There's just a difference in the way they castrate you. But the fact of the castration is the American fact. If I'm not the nigger here, and you invented him, you the white people invented him, then you got to find out why.
Well,
and the future of the country depends on that, whether or not it's able to ask that question.
As a Negro and as an American, I can only hope that America has the strength and the capacity,
the moral strength,
to ask and answer that question in affirmative and constructive way.
To face that question.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ken.
Baldwin just said America needs to face that question. And you could even expand on what Baldwin just said. Of not only does, why does America need an N-word, right? Why do you need to view Black people in that capacity? Then you must have something wrong if you need it. But why do we, America? I mean, the sad reality is what he's talking about. We can expand that now as we've gotten into this corporate servitude of, in the same way, like now we have a for-profit prison system. So even back then, they didn't even have a for-profit prison system. So now we've even taken it and made it worse. What does it say about a nation that needs prisoners for its for-profit system? What does it say? And again, he brings up a great point. Everyone talks about nonviolence when, in this context, he's like, when Black people are mad or angry or using, protesting or responding with violence from violence that's being perpetrated on them by the state. But nobody preaches nonviolence when the state commits it. Where is the nonviolence preaching when we let 60,000 people a year die because they don't have health insurance? That's an act of violence. You don't have health insurance? We don't care if you die. That's an act of violence. It's not hitting someone or shooting someone with a gun or hitting them with a car, but that's an act of violence. I'm letting you die because you don't have money. I'm committing violence against you or your family member. Why does America need terrorists? Why do we need an enemy? We always need a boogeyman. After 9/11, it's Al Qaeda, it's the terrorism, it's the Taliban, it's ISIS, it's But then we work with ISIS and Al Qaeda because Assad won't let us bring a pipeline through his country. Why do we need Russia, Putin, and China? And again, not excusing anything those countries have done, but why do we always need this bad guy? Why do we always need this to justify this awful, repressive, outdated regime? So if you're a conservative and you believe in America, you've got to be aware of the fact that this crippling economy is due to these massive corporations. What does it say about a country that outspends the next 10 countries combined on military, and we can't give each other, not each other, but the government can't give us a $2,000 check? We can't get UBI? All these countries in Europe gave their citizens 80 to 90% of their wages. The government paid the companies, so everybody was getting paid. So everybody, if you're getting 80% of your wage, well, you can keep paying your rent. In this country, we won't, 6 months you can't get evicted. But even then, even if you don't get evicted, you still have 6 months back rent. And not all landlords are evil people. There's some big corporations that are, but most landlords are just small business owners. It's like a guy, a girl, it's a married couple. It's this, they just bought some investment property. You buy a little 4-bedroom apartment, buy a little, apartment complex. It's profitable. It's a decent business. So the landlord's got to pay the mortgages on those, and they're all behind. If people, and it's like, so this country needs poor people. It needs to just have a class of people that are sort of expendable. So in honor of MLK Day, I wanted to show you that video. All that stuff that MLK said, that James Baldwin said. I mean, so thanks for watching the show, everybody. And I hope everybody wakes up. We're in class warfare. We're in class warfare. Not minimizing the systemic racism that's in this country, but this is class warfare. MLK said it in that one of his speeches. Who goes to fight the wars? Poor white and black people go fight the wars. That's who fights the wars. The working class fights the wars. The rich don't fight the wars. You better believe it. Like the Bush daughters, the Obama girls, they're not going to fight a war. Ivanka Trump, they're not going to fight a war. Chelsea Clinton, they're not going to go fight a war. They're not going to have to join the military because there's no jobs available. They're not going to do that. No way. No way. If they do join the military, they'll become officers. They'll get cushy positions. Like that. Come on. That's what the rich do. The poor and the working class fight their wars, and wars are always bullshit, and they're always for profit, for the most part, most of them. Say World War II is to stop Hitler. Okay, that's good. Most other wars were about profit and money, especially now. Because the one empire that is committing the most acts of brutality is the United States of America. We're bombing 7 countries. We increased the war budget, but we can't give people UBI during a pandemic. We can't just do rent forgiveness, just pay people rent. And they were talking about this 50, 60 years ago. And there's a reason why they had him assassinated. He was too smart and too eloquent and unified too many people. Thanks for watching the show, everybody. I'm giving you the news in ways the corporate media won't, because I'm funded by you, the viewer, not Raytheon, not Shell Oil, not Pfizer, not Coca-Cola, not McDonald's, not Ford. You. So thanks for watching. Shave your knuckles for justice. Ba-boom. Thanks for watching, everybody. Please hit the like button, the subscribe button. Go to patreon.com/Graham Elwood and rockfin.com/Graham Elwood, where you can support the show. Also, I have a Bitcoin wallet, a Bitcoin Cash wallet, and an Ethereum wallet in the show notes. We're taking cryptocurrency. I have a Coinbase affiliation link. We're going to be getting on some other exchanges. So that's how you support the show. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. YouTube is unsubscribing us at an alarming rate. I have a PayPal button at GrahamElwood.com. I even have a Venmo at Graham-Elwood. There's a lot of ways to support our show. We are getting crushed by YouTube. We've dipped under 73,000 subscribers because of YouTube. Thanks for supporting what we do.